Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Doing something a little bit different today. Playing a different game, not Strat Baseball, called Warfighter, World War II Warfighter to be more exact, by WW2 Games. DVG.com is the website for this game. This is a solo cooperative World War II company-sized game. It can be played solo or cooperatively. Recently got into playing this about a month and a half ago or so as winter set in, and wanted to make a vassal video for you of this gaming system. As I mentioned, vassal will be the tool that will be used to help facilitate gameplay and the game, and we'll talk a little bit about what that has to offer in terms of playability and cost effectiveness if you're looking to get into this series of games. But I did want to just briefly mention that I have not given up on Strat Baseball. Over the past 9 months I had gotten involved with a league, it's called Pure Strat, and heavily involved. Must have played probably 400 different games during that course of time. Probably do a video as we get closer to pitchers and catchers reporting, and when the new spreadsheet is sent out, or you can purchase from Strat with the 2024 season. So anyways, we'll get back into Strat, but I thought this would be fun to do a different type of video, and I'm hoping that people will enjoy it, and those who might be new to the channel who usually watch Warfighter videos will find this interesting. So my name's Keith, and I'll be your host here for the next hour or so as we get into Warfighter World War II by WW2 Games. So this isn't intended to be a play-by-play video. This is intended just to be a play of the scenario that I've chosen. You'll pick up aspects of how this game is played as I progress here, but more or less this is really intended to be a short patrol mission, and will be played as such. So part of the DVG Warfighter game system, and some of the intrigue with it, is with the Vassal module, the Vassal platform, you're able to more or less purchase the 4 core game sets along with about 25 different expansions for the price of $40. Okay, the Vassal program for Warfighter World War II is $40, and you get probably about $500–600 worth of material for that $40. It's an extremely cost-effective way to get into the game. If you have a computer that you can play it on, it doesn't require a lot of computer resources to do so, but a big screen helps, or a bigger screen. And it's a cheap way to get into the Warfighter gaming system, and then you can pick and choose what you like, and then if you so desire, purchase the cards and dice versions of the game. I have both. I started out on the tabletop version. In fact, have it set up right now over on my gaming table. I enjoy it. I like the physical feel, but from a standpoint of cost effectiveness, as I said, and then ease of just playing, the Vassal module is the way to go. So intend to do both, but just wanted to put that out there in case anyone's interested in getting into this. And please put your questions in the comments, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. So by way of disclaimer, I'm by no means an expert at this, although I do think I have a pretty good understanding of how the rules work, and I'm open to feedback either around rules being played incorrectly or in strategy as well. And so as we get into this scenario, I'll explain some of the strategy around putting the squads together for this mission. So with that, let's get into the game. So I mentioned that this is going to be a short patrol. Resources that you're allowed to spend is 25 resource points. We have time, so we have 7 turns to complete this, and our loadout is a -0, meaning we're not benefited or impacted by a positive or negative loadout, so we'll be using whatever's on the player card for that loadout piece. And then our objective is placed in the number 3 location box. In this case, we're going to be doing a retrieve intel mission, which basically is securing the site and then keeping it clear for um, two soldier player turns. So we are playing in Russia. This is one of the expansion packs that you can get. It goes along with the core Warfighter World War II game, and we'll be using Russian location cards and Russian hostile frontline and elite soldiers. I took both packs and put them in here, so we're going to get a mix when we select as to what type of soldier we're going to get. So this being that this is Russia, winter weather had a huge effect on both armies, but especially the German army. We will be using the environmental rules, so expect that the location cards, when they have an environment and a cold with a number, we will be using that, so we'll be subject to the effects of cold, either suppression or wounds. Player can choose which one when they fail an environment roll that he or she receives. So that is going to come into play here too. This is a very short mission, limited number of resource points, but I think you're going to get a good sample of the play of this game, and then it'll be a short but interesting mission. A lot can go wrong over the course of 7 turns. We're going to go ahead and move our players off to the side here. Move our board down. First thing we're going to do as we begin our first turn, turn 7 of this short mission, is draw our action cards. So Wall has a health of 5, so he's going to go ahead and draw 5 cards. And what we're looking for is a location card. Our squad is unable to move out of the mission card that they're starting in without placing a location card, so that becomes pretty important. This initial draw will not require an action by Wall, and look at that. Very first card on top is a location card, a location marker. It looks like we might have a couple more in here as well. Maybe not. Nope, we just had the one. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and keep the cards up here so everyone can see what's available to us to use. I did put a player soldier marker on here as well. Number 1, you'll see Wall corresponds to the number 1 chit down here on his card, so these are all the cards that belong to Wall. So for the first thing I'm going to do is return the location marker to the deck, and we are in Russia, as I mentioned. We're going to go ahead and draw a Russian location card, and we draw the Forest Road. Not a terrible card to draw. There are a couple things I'll point out on this. There is a pretty high likelihood that we'll encounter reinforcements with the Forest Road. It has a low entrance cost of 1. That helps our squad, especially with the low movement factors that Wall has. This is a free-to-play card, so Wall does not have to expend an action to play this card. I mentioned earlier that because we are in Russia and it's winter time, we are going to have an environmental roll, which will have to take place at the beginning of each player soldier turn, and our squad mates are going to need to roll 6s or better in order to defeat that and not suffer a wound or a suppress, and this is a nature card. Number of hostiles we can expect, we have 25 resource points, so when we draw for hostiles we'll be drawing a total of 3 resource points. So I'm going to go ahead and play this card to get us going. We do have a somewhat limited number of turns, and our objective is to keep this objective hex clear by occupying it for 2 soldier player turns. So time is of the essence. We've got I think a nice cushion here, but time can easily get away from us as well. So we're going to go ahead and play that. Unstoppable, looking at these other action cards, I like these types of cards where you can play an experience point. Gives you can pay another experience point to perform a move without spending an action, and adds 3 to your movement value. This is a really nice card to have when you have a player like Wall who has a 1, and you might be encountering a location card with an entrance cost, maybe a 4 or 5, or hostiles sometimes when they're placed can increase the entrance cost as well. So that's a nice card, not really applicable though to what we're doing in this mission, so it's expendable. Stay low is nice. This is almost the perfect card to play with the forest road, because once Wall places or moves into that location, this card can be played, and it nullifies or negates the reinforcement opportunities for that card. So definitely I'm thankful we were able to pull that. That's going to make the forest road a lot more attractive. Advance, similar to Unstoppable, except you don't have to pay any experience points to use the card. You get 3 added to your movement point value of your soldier, or you can pay an experience point to be able to put this onto another soldier. And then Snapshot gives Wall 1 free attack for that turn when played. Alright, so that being said, we'll play the Forest Road. We're going to go ahead now and draw our hostiles. So there's a resource point value of 3. So our first one satisfies that. We have 3. It's an elite unit. 3 resource points of this card, an elite unit. It's the armed jeep. These can be pretty deadly, so we're going to want to try to eliminate this as quickly as we can. You can see here that when it has 2 reticles, it can inflict 2 or more wounds on a roll of 6 or greater. So our goal this turn is going to be eliminating, or at the very least, getting a hit on it so we can take it down to a 1 reticle. I'm thinking with the firepower we have, is we should be able to eliminate this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the Forest Road. It is a vehicle, meaning that even if the reticles are suppressed, the attack will continue. The hits are going to reduce these roll numbers, but the overall impact of the vehicle will maintain. Usually when you suppress and you suppress the number of reticles, you can eliminate that hostile's opportunity to attack. With a vehicle, that is not the case. Maintain 1, so it's going to move away from our soldiers. It's going to try to keep a distance of 1. And then it is screened by a 0 to 1. We have no other hostiles in the hex, so there won't be any screening that takes place here. The armed jeep will be able to be attacked outright, and it cannot move after suffering 1 hit. So think about the armed jeep in this context. This is a harassing but highly deadly hostile. So the sooner we eliminate this, the better, because it's going to be moving away if it can. So that means we're going to have to move our squad into the Forest Road and attack that armed jeep this turn. So we should be able to get quite a bit accomplished in our very first turn here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the target. This will be the soldier that is going to be targeted. So the armed jeep has it out for Martin. So he's going to target player 2, meaning that any attacks that are rolled on his card go against target 2. So we don't have any events to play here. Now we need to move our soldiers so that we're able to engage the armed jeep. So what I had mentioned in the introduction, that I like Martin's card for this specific purpose. So Martin has 2 actions. We don't need to roll for an environmental roll because it's our mission location. There is no environmental roll needed on that. The location does not have this environment with a cold and then a number, so that step can be avoided. Our goal is to get Martin in there. So what I'm going to do is look to play the advance card. And I think before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for the blitz. So I can pull 1 CX card prior to doing that. So let's see what we get by doing that. We get a combined fire, so this makes our task even easier. So we're going to go ahead and put the combined fire over here. Usually with a CX card, you pull the card and then you have to discard right away down to the player hand size. In this case, we started with 4 cards after playing the location card, so I can keep the combined fire because Wall has a hand size of 5, and I don't need to discard a card. So that's good. That's going to add at least 1 to all of our soldiers' ranged attacks. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'm going to go ahead and play Unstoppable. I might have said that this card had limited value when I was looking over the cards, but as I think about that, I'm wrong. What this is going to do is we're going to go ahead and pay the experience point to play this card. You, any soldier, may perform a move without spending an action. So I'm going to play a second experience point. Anytime you have brackets with a comment like any soldier, you can pay an additional experience point to take that card and use it for that soldier. So I'm going to need to pay 2 experience points to be able to make this card work, which will be good because it's going to give Martin 2 opportunities to destroy that armed jeep. So we'll go ahead and play Unstoppable. 2 experience points. Martin's going to be able to move into this location. Martin's movement is 2. There's no negative impact to entrance costs on the hostile card, so he successfully moves into that hex without having to spend an action. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Next thing I'm going to do is attack the armed jeep with Martin's card. I'm going to hold off on playing the combined fire at this point because the grenade is a thrown attack. So we're going to go ahead and take a grenade. There we go. And throw it onto the jeep. So Martin engages the jeep. Jeep's cover is 2. Go ahead and roll our cover roll. Is a 4. One thing nice about the grenade is that it does have a penetration of 1, so that number gets added to the cover roll that you make on your attacks. So 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 defeats the cover of the armed jeep, which is great in our attempt to eliminate it. Now I'm going to roll 4 10-sided dice because this is an explosion attack. 4 dice are rolled. I'm going to need a 7 or greater in order to be able to get a hit on that armed jeep. So we actually do get 2 hits. We rolled a 9, an 8, and a 5 and a 4. So we defeated cover, 2 hits, results in 2 kills. Go ahead and put that on because we will remove this. So there's 2 kills, and you can see there's 2 reticles. So 2 kills are necessary to eliminate the armed jeep. So Martin is able to do that with the 1 toss of a grenade. So we're going to go ahead and eliminate that. Delete these kill markers. We're going to return this back to our cup, and then we are going to award Martin 3 experience points for successfully doing that. So we're going to place experience. Alright, so Martin has 3 experience points now. So we paid 2 experience points to eliminate the jeep and pick up 3. Not bad. And we're going to return that armed jeep to the deck. Alright, so Martin did execute an attack, so 1 action was expended. And now we can freely move our other troops into this location. So next we're going to go ahead and put Gusco in. He has a movement of 3, entrance of 1. Gusco comes in. We'll expend an action to do that. This leaves Wall, who has a movement of 1, entrance of 1. He's able to get in without an issue. He does expend an action. And we are going to play now the Stay Low card, which will keep that location from being reinforced with enemies. So we're going to play Stay Low. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the advance card and then also the snapshot card in order to satisfy the 2 card requirement for the covert nature of the Stay Low card. So now this location will not have to worry about being reinforced during the enemy phase. So we're going to return those to the deck. So Wall has 1 action left. I'm going to go ahead and play this and draw 4 more cards. together so you can see them. There we go. So all of our soldiers have used all the actions that they can for this turn. You're only able to move one location per turn. In this case, we don't have any hostiles to attack, so both Martin and Gusco are going to finish the turn with one action available each. You cannot carry those actions over unless it's hand-to-hand combat from turn to turn, so they're going to lose that action. It's not the end of the world. We've got a full set of cards. We'll move on now to the enemy or hostile phase of our turn 7. I did have one thought though before we go to the enemy part of this turn. I'm going to redeem my canteen for wall. I'm not going to select the 2 Hardys. It does say hot on the card. I checked. Vassal did not have a card that I could find that said cold. So we're going to go ahead, and nor could I find the Hardy marker, which comes with the board game, in the Vassal module. So I'm going to just use 2 canteens to represent the 2 Hardy points that we have, should we need those when we roll a environmental roll. So our canteen has been expended. We turned it into Hardy points. So now we'll move over to the enemy phase. You look over here, this is a reference that's on the game board itself. For the hostile turn, very first thing you would do is draw for reinforcements. I played the stay low card, so there will be no reinforcements. There are no hostiles placed to be able to attack, nor are they able to move because there are no hostiles, so there's no close range. No suppressed counters will be removed because there are no suppressed hostiles on the board. And the last thing we do is advance our mission timer. So we're going to go ahead and move that to turn number 6. And then we're going to reload our actions for our players. And we're all set. So from a standpoint of the scenario, that first turn probably couldn't have gone any better for us. We were able to eliminate the armed jeep, we picked up some experience points, no players were injured during the course of that turn, and so now we can focus our attention on the objective hex. Now this objective hex requires us to be on site, so we're going to need to move into the hex in order to fulfill the keep clear requirement for this location. So as we looked earlier at the enemy phase or hostile turn part of our sequence, the turn sequence actually begins with a soldier turn. So we're going to have to go ahead and roll for the environment because we're on the cold forest road. Then you have an attack, you have a variety of different things that you can do as part of your actions. And then if we wanted to keep any of these cards that we're able to retain, we would pay retention costs as well. So you can see the turn sequence there is broken down on the game board. What we will need to do in order to satisfy the objective requirements of keeping clear is have at least one of our soldiers occupy this location, so we are able to draw for reinforcements. And then the second part is conclude 2 turns, 2 soldier parts of the turns with no hostiles in this hex. So we have a lot of time left to be able to do this. The only way that this probably could go sideways is if we draw a hostile or have reinforcements come into play that overwhelm our small squad, which does seem somewhat unlikely, but we'll have to see how this plays out. So keep in mind that to keep this area clear, we have to have at least one soldier in the objective hex, and we need to keep the location clear at the conclusion of 2 soldier turns. Okay? Alright, so we're going to go ahead. Wall is going to activate the objective. So we'll get rid of this. So now this objective is activated. We're going to go ahead and draw 3 hostiles. And we'll move that over to here. So just like we did before, we'll just do one at a time here. So we drew a reinforcing. So this is worth 3 resource points, so we go ahead and automatically, with our first draw, satisfy the resource point requirements for this location. We'll read it here. So remove 1 EKIA from this card at the end of each soldier turn. So it's important that we eliminate this hostile quickly. I guess it could be said that all of them are like that. We'll go ahead and place this card here. It does have a range of 0, so in order for us to be attacked by this hostile, it needs to occupy the same location as what we're occupying. I'm going to go ahead and draw a target. So he drew target marker 1, which is wall, so he's going to target wall. What we could do is allow the reinforcing to come to us, attack it with wall's ranged attacks, and see if we can't get a kill or 2. That would be one strategy here, and then move into the objective. I don't know. I'm not too concerned about this hostile. I think the squad should be able to eliminate this within the turn that we're currently in. So I'm going to go ahead and move into this location and go from there. Alright, now we do have the benefit of a go, go, go card up here. Requires 1 card to be discarded, but this will allow Martin and Gusco to move into the objective without expending an action point. So we're going to go ahead and use this card. First, we're going to go ahead though and utilize the Blitz skill that Gusco has to draw an action card. It's a location marker. Because it is a CX card, we would have to discard a card immediately. This is the least value to us, meaning the location marker, so we're just going to return that to the deck. So, we're going to let Martin lead the charge on this. We're going to play the Go, Go, Go card. It is a support. Doesn't require an action to play, but it does require 1 card to be discarded to satisfy that. So we're going to go ahead and take care of the kick in the door card. We don't really need that, so that's going to be the card we're going to discard here. So we'll return that to the deck. Now we have the Go, Go, Go card in play, meaning Martin and Gusco are going to be able to move into this objective without expending any action points. So first Martin goes. He has a movement cost of 2. It takes 2 to get in there. Oh, shoot. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to roll for the environment. My apologies on that. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. I need a 6 or greater in order to defeat the environment roll. That won't impact our Go, Go, Go placement or anything like that. I just simply forgot to do that. So technically that would be the first thing you would do within the turn. So wall needs a 6 or greater. And I rolled a 3, so he failed it. I am going to use one of our hardy points because I failed that roll. I'm going to use a hardy point to neutralize the effect of that suppression or injury for wall suffering that failed roll. So we're going to delete that, so no impact to wall. Now Martin is going to roll. He rolls a 10, greater than the 6 on the environmental roll, so nothing there, no effect. And then Gusco rolls a 2, so he fails. So he's going to go ahead and we're going to place a suppression on him. We'll have to deal with that before Gusco can do anything. Alright, so we are going to go ahead, as I mentioned, we played the Go, Go, Go card. We're going to move Martin into the objective. He has a movement of 3. Cost 2 to go in. He has no issue with that. He still has 2 actions available. We're going to go ahead and throw a grenade with our first action. Flip that. So we're going to roll it for cover. We rolled a 2, but we do add 1 for the penetration of the grenade for a 3. Cover is 3. Scores equal, so that means cover has been defeated. And we're going to roll the 4 10-sided dice to see if we score any hits. And we rolled 1 7, which is 1 hit, and we failed on the other 3. So 1 kill is going to be placed. And now, because we did defeat the cover roll, but we failed with our attack rolls with the other dice, we do, however, suppress the remaining 2 reticles. So for this turn, this target has been neutralized. Okay? Which is good. It means it won't be able to attack us during the hostile phase. Alright, so that is that. I'm going to go ahead and attack with the SMG that Martin has. So we're going to play the combined fire card as well, and I'm going to upgun this to 2. So I'm going to go ahead and play an experience point for this, meaning that all of our soldiers, when they make a ranged attack, will have 2 added to their roll. Okay? So our SMG here is going to go ahead and fire. So I need it to defeat the cover roll. I need a 3. There is no penetration bonus here. So I rolled a 2. I did not. And we'll go ahead and roll the dice just so you can see how this goes, because we need to conclude the attack. But because I failed the cover roll, I will not be able to inflict a hit. The best I could do is get a suppression, which I've already suppressed the remaining reticles here. So now more or less we're just rolling to see if my MP40 jams or runs out of ammunition. So I rolled a 3, a 9, and a 5. In order to run out of ammunition, I needed to roll a 2 or less, and in order to jam, I would need to roll 2 3s, which are above the reload number. So that's how that rule works. It's 1 above your reload number, and you need to roll 2 in order to jam the gun, which I only rolled 1, so there's no jam there. I would have, however, hit the target because I rolled a 9, but because I failed the cover roll, the best I can do is a suppression. Already has 2 suppressed, so more or less that had no effect. So we're going to go ahead and flip that. Good news is we didn't jam or run out of ammo. So now we get to Gusco. I'm going to utilize the Guts skill that Wall has to remove that suppression. So we pay 1 XP to remove a suppression on your or any soldier, and then it's actually going to cost me 2 because I need to pay 1 to remove the suppression and then another 1 to remove that suppression on the soldier. So we're going to get rid of that. This is going to remove the suppress there. And now Gusco has 2 actions to move, one of which or 2 of which he'll be able to attack the reinforcing hostiles in that hex because we have the go, go, go card play. He's able to move into that hex with no issue or no action expended because of go, go, go. And now he's going to attack. And we are going to add 2 to the attack roll. So he'll technically need a 5. At this range he has a attack of 7, but with the +2 it makes it a 5. So first we're going to go ahead, flip this over because he is going to perform an attack. He's going to roll for cover. He rolls a 1, which is less than 3, so he fails. We will roll that though just for the fun of it, and a 2 is a miss, so no impact with that first attack. I'm going to go ahead and do it again. We're going to flip that over. Really need a 3 or higher to defeat that cover roll, and we do with a 4. Now we're going to roll for the attack. A 9 plus the 2 makes it 11. It exceeds the 7 that's needed to make an attack with his card, so one of these suppresses will go to a kill. So now we have 2 kills on that. And Gusco is out of actions. That leaves us with Wall. Get a quick sip here. We have 2 cards remaining. I'm going to go ahead and do a discard and draw action with these. So we'll go ahead and flip that. Go ahead and get rid of all 5 of those. We'll go ahead and draw 5 new cards. Okay, so sniper support, not of much use in this situation. Self-sacrifice, decent card for helping mitigate a hostile's attack. We have the prepared fire. This is good because we'll be able to make an attack and automatically defeat the cover roll of 3. Suppress is more of a reaction to a hostile attack and then a worthless location marker. So let's see here. Wall has 1 attack left. We have 1 reticle that's left. I'm going to go ahead and attack with Wall. He does not benefit from the go, go, go action because it's non-player soldiers and squads, so I'm going to go ahead and return that to the deck because that card's benefits are over with. I'm going to attack at a range of 1 with my 98K rifle. So the first thing I'm going to do is play the prepared fire card, which automatically gives me a defeat cover roll of 6. And I'm going to hopefully roll a 6 or greater with the 98K rifle. And I rolled a 1, so he missed. And I'm going to have to reload as well. Even with the 2 added, it would only make it a 3, but to determine if you have to reload, you go off of your base 10-sided die roll. So our 98K is without ammo. Wall wasn't able to do the job. We're going to go ahead and delete that, return that back to the deck, and we are out of actions. So I guess I could have moved Wall into that hex. I wanted to try to take advantage though of the positive attack modifier that I had. That's why I took that range of 1. So now we'll go ahead and move into the hostile phase of the turn. Okay, we're going to move into the hostile phase of this turn. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the prepared fire card because that's been used. We do have a couple of nice cards here that will help us with any reinforcing soldiers that the hostiles might bring into the hex during their part of this turn. We have the suppress card and then the self-sacrifice. So as you look at game management here, it's always nice to have a reactionary card that you can play should a hostile during their attack come in and provide a hit on your cards. Imagine if we pull a flamethrower here without one of these 2 cards to help deflect that attack or defer that attack. We're going to have a big problem. So we're in a pretty good spot to handle any reinforcing troops that come into this. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and draw for reinforcements. 0 to 1 resource points. The hostile gets placed. In this case it's a 2, which is greater than the 1, so we are not going to place that. So we're going to return that to the deck. The reinforcing hostile is more or less has been dealt with, so the suppression is going to keep it from moving. It's also going to keep it from attacking because we have 3 affecting chits on the reticles, so the reinforcing So hostiles won't be able to do anything. So there won't be any attack, there won't be any movement. So we're going to go ahead and end the hostile turn by deleting that suppression. You remove those one suppression from each card at the end of the hostile phase of the turn. Alright, nothing more can be done here, so we're going to move this timer forward. Now for purposes of satisfying the objective of being kept clear for 2 turns, we did move our troops into the objective. However, we did not conclude the preceding turn soldier phase without an enemy being in that location. So now we're going to need to eliminate the reinforcing to try to begin satisfying that keep clear obligation in order to successfully win this scenario. So we move to turn 5. Alright, to begin turn 5, we're going to go ahead and flip our action chits over for our soldiers. And we will begin their turn with the environmental roll, which I had forgotten to do over the last turn and had to go back and do it. We'll go ahead and resolve that now. So Wall needs to roll a 6 or better in order to defeat the environmental roll for that location. Roll our 10-sided die. He gets a 3, so he fails. So we're going to go ahead and use the last hardy point that we have to overcome the effect of failing that roll. Martin and Gusco both need to roll an 8 or better in order to overcome the cold within that objective hex. So first Martin's going to go. He rolls a 9, so he's able to defeat that. And Gusco rolls a 10. So remarkably, both of these soldier cards were able to find a way to stay warm in a very cold location. So that's good. Alright, now we move on to the next phase of this, where we draw our CX card. Again, my hand size is a 5, so I can draw that card and not have to discard any of the 4 that I have. So we draw that, and reloading. This is a good card to have, especially when you're out of ammunition. So we're going to go ahead and play this card on Wall, so he's able to reload without spending an action. Leaves him with 4 of the 7.92 millimeter rounds. And then that card will be returned to the deck. We should move Wall into this space, so we get all 3 of our soldier cards in there. I'm going to go ahead and attack the reinforcing. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with Gusco here, see if I can get lucky with one of his attacks so I don't have to expend a grenade or use the SMG to wipe out that reinforcing hostile. So let's go ahead and get started with Gusco. So let's see, I don't have any cards that I'm able to use to help him in his attack, so he's on his own. So we roll a 7 to hit, but we have to defeat that cover of 3. So our first attack is a 4, so Gusco does defeat that cover. And we'll roll our 10-sided die looking for a 7 or better, and he rolls a 10. So a third hit is placed on the card. There's only 3 reticles, so this card has been eliminated. Gusco's going to flip one of his actions over, and we'll return that to the deck. That's going to be deleted. And then this card is worth 3 experience points, so we're going to put 3 experience points on Gusco's card. And we've eliminated the hostile in that objective location. Wall is going to move into this location. he has a movement point or movement allowance of 1. It costs 2 to get in there, so I'm going to need to discard a card in order to be able to make that move happen. I'm going to get rid of this location marker. We'll go ahead and move wall into that. Objective: there are no enemies. We are going to end our player turn. We don't have anything else we really can do here. So we're going to end the player turn part of turn 5 and move into the enemy phase. So we have successfully completed one of our objectives of keeping that site clear for 1 soldier turn. Alright, so now let's see what we draw for reinforcements. And we drew a 2. There's no reinforcements allowed when you draw a 2. We can only go as high as a 1, so that card gets returned to the deck. Alright, so now this is just a matter of formality to win this scenario. So there's no enemies to deal with during their part of the turn. I'm going to go ahead and advance this to turn 4. We do need to flip the action over for Gusco, and we are going to need to roll for environmental effects just as a part of the process here. Even though we don't have any enemies to deal with and we've more or less won the scenario, let's keep it consistent with the rules and roll that environment. So all 3 of our soldiers are going to need to roll an 8 or better on the environment roll. So Wall goes first. He rolls a 7. I'm going to go ahead and put a suppress on him. We have Martin. He rolls a 7. He fails it as well. And then we have Gusco. And he rolls a 5. So we had 3 fails of our environment roll. I will point out too, with the environment roll, when you fail, you have a choice of either putting a wound or a suppression on that player card. So, or the non-player card, or non-player squad, or the squad. So I chose suppression for all 3 of these. There's some strategy around which ones you use. So as part of my turn, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this suppression on each of these by expending an action. What happens when you flip that? Oh, it goes to the KIA, that's right. Alright. So each of our guys expended an action to get rid of that suppression. And we'll conclude the soldier part of this turn. So that means we had 2 soldier turns where we kept the objective clear of enemies, and so we more or less have won the scenario. We did it very quickly. I think pretty efficiently. Yeah, so that's that. I don't have any music, or there's no fireworks that go off to signify the fact that we won. But we did. And, you know, from a standpoint of ease of completing the scenario, this is about as easy as it gets. I've had scenarios where you have similar numbers of locations that you have to traverse, and it's become a nightmare. We just happened to get lucky with how this played out. That stay low card really made a difference too. That could have, had we not been able to negate the reinforcements for that forest road hex, we could have really gotten bogged down in a battle there that would have made this scenario much more difficult to win. So that's our first go around with DVG Warfighter World War II. Hope you enjoyed the playthrough. Please put your comments in the section below. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing more videos around Warfighter here, at least for the next few weeks. Maybe get back into Stratomatic here as we get closer to the baseball season. So appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed it. Be safe.